Good evening, all, and welcome to the Toon review for tonight's match review of the crazy game that was Newcastle United 5, Sheffield United 1. I hope you're all well and you've had a good weekend after that big win yesterday. But that big win came with quite a few talking points, which we will get through very, very soon, of course. But as usual, if you do enjoy tonight, please give it the thumbs up. And if you are new and you like what you see, why not subscribe? It's free to do so. Come and be part of this incredible community that we have here. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, which will alert you when we schedule our live shows or we upload any recordings. Of course, you can become a member of the Toon Review. We've got some member giveaways starting next week again. So please do, if you want some prizes, you want to support the channel, please do hit that join button underneath the three of us. And of course, you can donate to the channel as usual by the $ at the bottom of the live comments, and that will guarantee your comment to be read out. We've already had one in from Mr. Proudlock. Thank you, Peter. Even though, what was the first name of the Sheffield United player who scored the goal again? We are going to be professional tonight, or as best we can. Certainly, we were professional most of the time on the commentary as well yesterday. So you know, we've had a laugh about it, haven't we? But there you go. But thank you for that, Pete. Yeah, it was a strange game of football, it has to be said. Newcastle we'll look at Newcastle's lineup again, and obviously we went back to the 4-3-3. We had Dubravka, we had obviously Livramento at right back, we had Lewis Hall left back. Centre backs of Dan Burn and Fabian Schär. Now, I've changed my mind on Dan Burn. I'm going to have my say on Dan Burn a bit later. We had a midfield of obviously Longstaff, Bruno, and Anderson, and a front three, of course, Murphy, Gordon, and Isak. Isak, the man, is just clinical in front of goal at the moment. But it's safe to say that the game didn't start, Billy, as well as we thought.
No, Sheffield United really were up for it, weren't they? First half, especially. Well, definitely it was all the first half, really. Yeah, we couldn't keep hold of the ball. We were being outfought in the middle of the park. The three in the middle of there for Sheffield United, helped by the wing backs, were outstanding. All three of them. Yeah, Arblaster and Brooks and Harmer. And Harmer was winning the game, really. Yeah, we couldn't get near them. They created lots of chances. The front two looked very dangerous as well. We didn't really create a lot for the first half an hour. We were second best all over the pitch.
And it was disappointing, Alex, wasn't it? Because we expected a reaction from Newcastle. Dan Robinson, thank you for your super chat. We struggled against that trusty anal arse blaster. Yeah, we did. But we expected a reaction from Wednesday night. You know, Eddie coming out and saying that he was questioning the mentality and the attitude. And then we go out and we start the way we did. Now, I know obviously there was changes in the back four again, which might have just sort of give us a little bit of a hiccup, but we didn't expect that. Certainly the first half an hour of total domination by a team that was about to be relegated.
Well, I think you've got to look at it all in context. Now we've seen the whole tie. Obviously, it does seem they gave a lot in that first half, Sheffield United, as they did massively fall off a cliff physically in every regard in that second half. Duels, sprints, passes, it was all atrocious decision making. It really did fall off. So it looks like they were giving it everything in that first half, fighting for survival. That was their last real effort. Is getting a win there, keeps the hope, keeps the dreams alive, even though it was nigh on impossible. So I think it was a bit of both. I think it was a little bit of complacency, a shift of the back line, not being, focused enough, a few sloppy passes here and there. And it was a team who were fighting for everything. And then obviously that all changed. I'm sure we'll get to the second half. So,
yeah, I mean, look, they took the lead around the 5th minute, didn't they? And it was just across to the back post, and Ahmed was there to nod it, and again through the legs of the goalkeeper. But he was quite ridiculously up and down yesterday, was Martin Dubravka, to be fair. But we've also got to accept that they were on top and they scored. It was coming. It was always coming, Billy. And again, a simple header at the back post, nodded down through the goalkeeper's legs, and they go 1-0 up.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. It was a well-worked set piece, wasn't it? Definitely training ground kind of practice, wasn't it? Without any shadow of a doubt. It was a ball back. They manufactured it back from the right-hand side, left-hand side of the penalty area to Harmer, who crossed it in. Ahmed Hodzic made a late run and was free and headed it into a net, which should have been protected by Dubravka, but it went through his legs. All close range, but you'd expect most keepers would get something on that and keep it out. Whether it would have gone to a non-rushing forward or not, who knows? But really should kind of get something behind it. But yeah, it was a well-worked goal. They tried it again a minute later. We was up for it. We were awake with it. So yeah, maybe one or two went to sleep for the goal, but a well-worked corner kick. Well-worked set piece and a good goal.
Yeah, and they did have more chances, Alex, as time went on in that first half. But luckily, we get back into it through a brilliant ball from Jacob Murphy and a wonderful run from Isak, curling his run, going through, and when he's in like the form he is at the minute, I mean, it was just a wonderful finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did have a lot of. I mean, we both had 10 shots in that first half, but they had more shots on target and more clear-cut chances than we did. Probably Archer's in the 16th minute had a 0.24 XG on it. That probably should have gone in. Managed to get the block on it. Dan Burn with his heroics there. And our goal, incredible from Jacob down the right-hand side, considering there's been a lot of criticism of kind of his gameplay in recent weeks. He was playing at right wing back, guys. We did discuss this. As soon as he gets himself into a right wing area, picks his head up and gets an assist. But Isak still has to do a lot of work. Of course, Big Al did go into detail in that in Match of the Day, where he stays with the line, he drifts offside, and then he drifts back onside in front of the next man, waits for the pass, he times it to perfection, bends his run. He's still got a lot of work to do and slots it into the back corner. So it was ice cold from Jacob and from Isak. It was magnificent, and we needed that. We needed an early response to try and get back in that game.
Absolutely, and those are the type of balls, Billy, that we used to from Jacob Murphy playing as a right-sided forward. He can do that. He's got that in his locker.
Yeah, he's done it from deep as well, hasn't he? He's done it from the right back position as well. He did it in pre-season against Villa, and he's done it a couple of times this season also, and he did it again. It was a fantastic pass. The goal for me was all about the movement of Isak. I said it in commentary yesterday. It was phenomenal. It was elite. And Alan Shearer picked up as well. So whether Alexander Isak took the words of Alan Shearer or me on board, who knows? I guess it would be Alan Shearer somehow.
Yeah, I would reckon so. I mean, it was just a brilliant run. But then, again, just before half time, they have an opportunity where they hit the crossbar from a header, a huge scramble in the box. It drops to Brooks. And I think he actually hit it too hard, Alex. I think he put his foot through it. When a little more composure would probably have been a little bit better in those circumstances. I know a lot of the time we say when you're in front of goal like that, give it a welly. But at the same time, he just had to have a bit more composure. Spike Milligan, thank you for your super chat. We can't play like that from the start. Other teams could derail our European chances. Have to attack from the start and press from the get-go. Indeed, yeah. Alex's dog is just having a little bit of a strange.
Just a leaflet drop, don't worry.
All right, okay, there you go. But they could have been they could have been 2-1 up at half time, Alex.
Yeah, I mean they probably should have been. They peppered our goal. There were a lot of interesting opportunities from them. Hitting the post, blocks from Dan Burn. It wasn't good. They have competent strikers in Diaz and Cameron Archer, and you can't give them an inch, because I think Ben Burton Diaz held himself very well in that game. I thought he was all right. Cameron Archer ran his socks off, got a couple of decent opportunities. You can definitely see that they'd be good in a better team. I'm surprised that I could probably see Diaz getting a move elsewhere in the summer potentially, to somebody that maybe can control a game a little bit more. Dare I say maybe an Everton or a Brentford, but it depends on the price range for somebody like that. And Cameron Archer as well is obviously going to end his loan spell. But we were very lucky to still be in that game, and I think we've got Dan Burn to thank for that. Even though his lack of pace was an issue in recovery, what he did in the defensive phase was important. So,
well, we'll come on to Big Dan. Thank you, Barney Boy 1000 for your super chat. Much appreciated. Has anyone done the St James's Park rooftop tours? Did it this Friday. It was really cool. Up the mags. You would not get me up there for any amount of money in the world. Although I am 6'5", I cannot stand heights. They scare the living crap out of me. It won't be the case. Now, what we do have before we talk about the second half is the highlights from yesterday from the watch along, which we always like to play, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Matchday Live highlights. Away at St James's Park, Newcastle United against Sheffield United. Sheffield United fighting for their lives, of course. Newcastle United still fighting for that European place. And we've changed it up today to make sure that happens. But very early doors, of course. But Sheffield United get a chance to swing in across again. It's an in-swinger and a goal! Sheffield United take the lead!
Yep.
And that is incredible!
There might be an offside there, but we can.
Well, I mean, we'll see in a second, Billy. But Sheffield United have taken the lead at St James's Park. Thank you very much for viewing Matchday Live right here on the Toon Review YouTube channel, the only place for brilliant, honest live commentary as Isak gets into the box. 1-1.
Get in there! What a finish!
Brilliant finish from the Swedish clinical master. Newcastle United get the equaliser, and it's time to grab your granny because she's going fishing. That is a clinical finish from Isak. What a good ball from Murphy. Ooh. And that's just a brilliant finish.
Do you know what? That's world class running off the ball to get into space. He's gone offside, come back on. Yeah. And it's a fantastic bit of play from Isak.
It's a brilliant
if you
ball
watch his
well.
bit of, you got to just watch the way he gets into that space. It's unbelievably good.
Yeah. We are 1-1 now at St James's Park. And that will settle the nerves down, hopefully, now. I mean, Jesus. What a ball by Murphy. Brilliant running from Isak. He didn't even take a touch. He let the ball come across him and hammers it into the bottom corner. Absolute world-class finish.
I can't emphasise how good the run was, though, to get himself free. It was a world-class elite run from a fantastic player.
Absolutely fantastic.
We should still win this game. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to come out and sort of tidy this up. I fully expect us to be better in the second half.
The first 10 minutes of this second half, I expect Newcastle to be right on it. And out to Livramento now. Livramento driving forward on the right-hand side. Cuts inside. That's a free kick in a very interesting position. Foul by Brereton Diaz. He's not very happy with that decision, but it was clearly a foul on Livramento and a free kick to the Toon in a very, very good position, it has to be said. But this is a really good position, this.
Yeah, Lewis Hall in swinger, perhaps. Or an out swinger from Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, it's to the back post, and Bruno scores! Yes! There he is at the back post and not at home. And it's a fantastic header into the far side. And Newcastle United take the lead. And it's time to grab your granny because she is going ass blasting. 2-1, Billy. It was a perfect free kick. We're just making sure that Bruno's onside. Oh, it's Miles onside. Gordon Bennett.
Yeah, there's no one offside there. Nobody offside. It's
a brilliant header across the goal into the other side.
Yeah, perfect delivery from Anthony Gordon. Brilliant run off the ball from Bruno to get some space. It's a terrific header into the bottom corner.
Yeah.
And raising the corner flag to the fans and showing all kinds of signs of love. He's going nowhere, folks.
Is he bollocks? He's staying. It's a brilliant header. And look at him. He's grabbing the Newcastle. There you go. Look at that. You see? Holding the flag. That's
an iconic image, that.
I think that's a message to everybody, Billy. Penalty.
Yes,
it is a penalty.
Of course it is.
It's going to be Alexander Isak to take the penalty. And I've lost. Here he comes, right-footed, and 3-1. Brilliant penalty from Isak, and the mighty Swede has another double header. And it's that time again to grab your granny, because she is going to the discotheque to dance her knickers off. It's 3-1 to the Toon. Brilliant penalty, Billy, and now we can just breathe a little bit more easy. That is a brilliant penalty.
Well, Wes Fotheringham has actually tried to dive both ways there at once.
Yeah. Gordon will take the corner for Newcastle United. Thought about taking a quick one, but he doesn't, and it's going to be a cross into the box. Oh, chance there, bouncing around. It's in the back of the net, and I think it's actually an own goal. It is indeed. And Newcastle United have a fourth. I don't know how that went in the net, but it did. And it's 4-1 to Newcastle. And it's time to go grab your granny and granddad, because they're going home to have some funky time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh dear, he's had a nightmare. He's had a nightmare.
Like a pack of cards, aren't they? Good grief.
It's Osborne that's put the into the back of his own net. I don't know what he's trying to do. Well, he's trying to get it out for a corner, but he's put it in the bottom corner. And it's now Newcastle United 4, Sheffield United 1. Newcastle are going to make 2 changes. Callum Wilson is coming on for what looks like Elliot Anderson.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if Isak's coming off, isn't it?
Oh, he can't bring Isak off, surely.
He's going to go 4-4-2 now.
It's Murphy coming off. Murphy and Anderson coming off. And Barnes and Wilson coming on. Here's Anthony Gordon now for Newcastle. Gordon across to Elliot Anderson. Anderson into the box. Lovely flick to Isak. And that is the hat-trick for the mighty Sweet. No, it's not. It's Wilson.
Oh, shite.
What a shot by Callum Wilson. And it's time to grab your granny again, because Grandad's going to do some anal blasting, everybody. It's in there. It's 5-1, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I could have sworn that was Isak, but what a finish that is from Callum. I mean...
He finished it like Isak, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, he took it on his left and then just sliced across the ball with his right into the top corner. And Newcastle United are 5-1 up, Billy.
That's a fantastic bit of striking, though.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The match is over. Newcastle United 5, Sheffield United 1. A very comprehensive result. Obviously, didn't look that way at half-time. It didn't look that way anywhere near in the first half. But once the second goal went in, Sheffield United suddenly heads dropped. Newcastle then just turned up the gears and absolutely dominated the rest of the match to win by 5-1. Thank you very much for watching. Have a fab weekend, folks. Good night.
And we're the lads and lasses. Get in there.
And we are. So there you go, guys. That was the highlights from yesterday. I think Abs has got off the wrong side of the bed today, complaining about the goal-scoring music going on after every goal. That's what happens, Abs. Obviously, we scored 5 goals. There was a lot of goal-scoring music, but 99% of everybody loves watching the granny celebration for the goals. So don't worry, Abs. You know, it's your opinion, absolutely, but they are in to stay. Some people asking where the grab your granny came from. I have no idea. I think I did it once and it caught on, and then granny became part of the goal scorings. So yeah, people asking a couple of questions why it wasn't played at the start of the show. It simply wasn't ready. Susan literally sent it to me as Alex was talking before, and I had to quickly edit it, quickly put it through and play it. But it will be there. Anyway, so let's move to the second half. And really, I expected Newcastle to come out, Alex, at 100 miles an hour for the second half. But the first 5 minutes, it wasn't like that. I mean, Sheffield United took control of the game again, and it wasn't until that Bruno goal that things completely changed in that game.
Well, possession doesn't always mean control necessarily. So I think we were just they were feeling it out. You don't have to go and execute the plan within the first minute. But yeah, the goal was needed. And to be fair, it was a little bit fortunate in terms of poor defending on their part. Ben Brereton Diaz was at the far post, marking Bruno. Bruno scored 3 or 4 of those before, some with a little first-time volley with the inside of his foot, sometimes with his head. He scored a few of those in the past. So they should have done their homework, and Diaz should have been fully aware that you need to pick up your man, especially if you're the last man. That's where the ball's going to go a lot of the time. Really poor defending from them, but there's still a lot of hard work for him to do to get down and get that, make sure that doesn't go over the bar, make sure there's clean contact on that and he gets it in the net. So that was a turning point. And then, from there, I do think it was an element of we switched on and they downed tools both at the same time, which just kind of went on a bit of a rout, really.
It did seem, Billy, as if they just capitulated completely. I mean, as Alex said, I think he made a good point earlier on the show saying that, Sheffield United went at us at 100 miles an hour in the first half. And what they didn't have was the stamina to keep that kind of game going on for the second half. And once we got that second goal, it seemed like Newcastle, just went up a gear or two and Sheffield United went back into reverse. That's how it seemed. And then every time we came forward from then on, it seemed like we were going to score.
Well, they put all that effort in first half, emptied the tanks to a certain extent, had a bit of a respite at half time, started again in the same kind of manner for the first 5 minutes or so in the second half. They were still level. Then we scored to go 1 up. Then was 2-1 up. Then was I thought, good grief, the amount of effort we've put into this game, the amount of control we've had on it, and we're losing. Mentally shattered, physically shattered at the same time. And as Alex says, we raised our game also. So yeah, the inevitable thrashing came after that. They were so flimsy mentally and physically, and we took advantage of it. We played some good stuff second half, to be fair.
Yeah. And I think, Alex, the one thing that came from that second goal, that iconic photo of Bruno standing with the flag.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said it. It doesn't look like somebody that's wanting to leave. He kisses the badge. He goes to the corner. He was extremely moved by the Brazil setup from War Flags for Joelinton and him, and rightly so. I haven't seen many clubs do that for players. Especially players that have only been there for a few years. They're recent purchases in the grand scheme of things, aren't they? You might get compassionate things for club legends or for people who have been there for a decade or for testimonials. But for a club to do that, and not even a club, it's War Flags and the fan base, really.
Yeah.
For them to sort of orchestrate that and show that love and adoration. And I think Bruno gets it as well. He understands that it's not normal. And if he goes to, and this is the whole concept of when we're trying to sign big players, they know this because a few of them have referenced this in interviews. The first lot to win a trophy, that's it. They're legends forever in that city, forever. It doesn't really matter what we go on to do. It's that first 11, that first squad that lift a trophy. I think Gordon mentioned this last week. Even he quoted this as well.
Yeah,
he knows.
legends.
They all know whether that's Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton, whether it's Gordon. They know that this is it. You're not going to get that if you go to somewhere like PSG. Yes, you will be. People will adore you. Of course, they will. But
you'll not be held in that kind of
the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's definitely very, very different. And with that flag raise, he did. It almost felt like his own silent answer to a lot of the news that's gone around in the last few weeks. And it is a strange one because I think everybody agrees to a point that it was probably an agent leak about all of the contract stuff. Because where else is it going to come from realistically? It's got to be the agent. Yeah. So for Bruno to kind of go into the corner and do that, he didn't have to do that, but he felt he wanted to. It was incredible. It was heartwarming.
Peter mentions Jamie O'Hara's comments saying Sheffield United being the worst team in the Premier League and saying they shouldn't be allowed to come back. I mean, this is why right? And Goldbridge made a point of this yesterday, actually, on one or was it this morning? He was on saying that this is why people don't take pundits seriously anymore, because they come out with absolute garbage, and people would rather listen to these sort of fan channels now to get honest reviews and proper chat about their football club, because these pundits come out with absolute dosh. They really do. Why should Sheffield United not be allowed back? If they're good enough to get promoted next season, then they're good enough to be promoted. If they're not good enough to be in the Premier League, they'll get relegated again. But to say they shouldn't be allowed back, kiss my ass, O'Hara. This is why all these pundits now, people are wondering how the hell these guys, Jamie O'Hara, what did he do in his football career to be able to say something like that? Absolute nonsense. And this is just the type of idiotic comments that come out on TalkSport and all the other ones. It's just dross. It is complete dross. These pundits do not deserve to be where they are. Absolutely not, right? And that is why a lot of people now watch these fan channels, because they get honest opinion on their football club rather than listening to absolute Jamie O'Toole like that, because it's just pointless.
Well, they're on because of their previous career, aren't they?
Well, what does O'Hara do?
He's more known for his off-the-field activities than his on-the-field.
Absolutely, and we all know what that was like. So
we weren't professional footballers. We just talk about the club we love and the matches, and people like to watch and talk about it with us.
We watch them every day. We watch them every game, Alex. That's exactly what I'm saying, bud. We are in a position where we can give an opinion because we watch them. He doesn't. He's got no right to say that about Sheffield United. It's really derogatory.
Well, they came up a few years ago with really exciting tactics, the overlapping centre halves.
Well, didn't they finish?
I was just going to say the same thing. They finished 8th or 9th, I think, in their first season back. You know, they came up with a lot of interesting prospects. Henderson, the Man United goalkeeper at the time, was on loan there. They've got really exciting sort of style of play. You know, what's to say that that's not going to happen? I mean, it's ridiculous that half the clubs in the Premier League were bad. Bournemouth were in League Two a few years ago. Brentford were right down there. Does that mean because they were really bad? Well, I say really bad, that's harsh. In comparison to Premier League teams, does that mean they're not allowed to get better and improve?
But it's about the fans as well, Alex, isn't it? You know, these fans get someone like a team like Bournemouth or Sheffield United or Luton Town, for instance. Look what happened to Luton Town, right? And they've come, and nobody can say they haven't been in the Premier League on merit. Of course they have. They've fought back from non-league.
There were a lot of smart signings to get them to where they were, to be fair.
Yeah, but they got where they were, Alex. They got to the Premier League after being in the doldrums in non-league. What right does anybody say that they shouldn't be there on merit? And for the fans, it's ridiculous. It's terrible thing to say. Toon Gamer says, I'm fuming at Fabian Schär for not coming off halfway through the first half, saying he was okay, but clearly wasn't, and he had to come off at half-time. Eddie should have said, no, you're coming off. Now, we did notice a couple of times Schär feeling his hamstring, Billy, and again, he said he was going to stay on. Now, this is why I want to support Dan Burn tonight, because there's a couple of times during that commentary that I said, and we both said, what's Dan Burn doing over there, or what's he doing? Schär should be there. However, Fabian Schär couldn't run. So Dan Burn was covering Schär's backside. So that's why Dan Burn was there. So I'd like to say, big up Dan Burn. Now we know what was going on. He was covering the centre-back's position, both of them, because why didn't they take Schär off? I don't get it.
We should have learned from what's happened before this season with injuries and people staying on the pitch when they were injured. But Fabian Schär telling him was okay. Again, it's putting the onus on the managers to have some balls and pull him off. That don't sound right, but you know what I'm saying. Dan Burn did cover for him really, really well, actually. We did criticise him, and at the time we weren't aware of what happened to Fabian Schär. So, yeah, apologies to Dan Burn. He's had an absolute fantastic game, doing the work of two men, basically.
Yeah. Kush Tilla Kush, thank you for your super chat. Always look forward to this show, especially after a win. Feels like I'm down the pub with my mates discussing the match. Love it and love you guys. Thank you very much. Kush Tilla Kush. That is such a cool username, that. Kush Tilla Kush. Sounds like a band, doesn't it? I mean, you could start a band called Kush Tilla Kush. But never mind. Toon Gamer says, question, do you think we need to do a display for Isak now? I think it'll be in War Flags plans. I would imagine at some point we will, yeah. But, you know, he hasn't been here quite as long as Bruno. So, I mean, Yeah, look, Isak's on fire at the minute. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I mean, the penalty was a clear penalty yesterday, as clear as you're going to get, Alex. And he stepped up and he converted that fantastic. And as Billy said on the highlights there on Matchday Live, Fotheringham tried to dive twice. It was just ridiculous. He had nowhere near an idea where that was going.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a penalty. There was contact outside and inside. It was like double contact on Gordon. And the penalty itself, I mentioned this to Billy yesterday on the Patreon, reminded me a little bit of Ivan Toney's penalties. Shorter run up than usual, almost side-footed and just very, very last second deciding where to go and just waiting for the keeper. And then, it was quite amusing because the keeper went to dive right and then Fotheringham decided, it's going left, and tried to sort of fish wiggle the opposite direction. Amazing pen. I think we do need to kind of take a step back and realise we've got two penalty takers that I can't remember the last time they missed. No idea. It must have been a couple of seasons ago, surely. I understand we've missed in penalty shootouts, but in terms of proper penalties from Wilson and Isak, we are pretty blessed. Gordon's even had, I think, one this season that he's dispatched. So we are quite lucky because there's a lot of teams up and down the Premier League that have had misses this season, multiple misses from penalties. So we're quite fortunate that if we get a pen, we're all pretty excited because we're generally confident it's going to go in the net. So
yeah. And the fourth goal, Billy, was just a tremendous comedic value, really. I mean, I'm not sure what he was trying to do. I mean, whether he was trying to be clever and give it the old back flick out for a corner, but he inevitably put it in the corner of the net.
It was one of the best own goals you're ever going to like to see, aren't you? A back heel into the bottom corner. It's fantastic. But he was obviously trying to get it out for a corner. And as Alex says, the camera shone straight on him as he was cursing his bad luck. Didn't need to be a lip reader to know what he said.
It reminded me of an old school Danny Welbeck goal, that did.
Yeah. Someone like that, yeah. It was
just for the wrong team.
Yeah, just a crazy own goal. But once again, we put pressure on them and they've capitulated again, haven't they?
Well, absolutely. And then, of course, the fifth goal. I mean, Callum Wilson, that's what he does. That's what he is superb at doing. But we just haven't seen it enough. The way he brought the ball down with his left and cut across the ball on his right foot into the top corner, that is what Callum's all about, Alex. And it was a beautiful finish.
Well, which one are we on about now? Sorry, I was reading the Matt Ritchie drives when he wants comments because it was funny.
The fifth goal.
Which one was the fifth? The Wilson screamer in the back, the top bins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how you two got confused that was Isak. At the time, I was pretty confident that was Wilson. So
I think we forgot Wilson was on the pitch and thought Isak's hammering in his hat.
We were desperate for a hat trick for Wilson.
Of course we soon realised.
I'm glad Wilson got one because to be fair, he's looked. We've mentioned this. We've mentioned it a few times. I think it's worth mentioning again. We're in a unique situation where he wasn't out with a lower body injury for a change. It was an upper body injury to his pec and biceps. So it still looks like his legs are absolutely fine. He's not come back with that usual rustiness. He's got a bit of energy about him. He could have had 2 goals yesterday, that half volley, and then he did get his goal. Absolute top bins, buried it, and he would link it up well with Isak. I think Isak got the assist for that as well, to be fair. Did he actually get credited with it? No, he didn't, but I think it came from Isak, didn't it? So yeah, just incredible from the fact that we've got 2 strikers back fit now. I mean, it's a shame we can't really play all of them at the same time because I guess our 3 strikers officially on our books are Gordon, Isak, and Wilson, so we can't really play them all at the same time. Although it would be nice.
It was really nice, and of course, Baz down on the point now that Kraft was waiting to come on, and he was because we said it in commentary, Billy. The Kraft was coming on, and we didn't know for who, and then he I think as the cameras were panning on him, he was going back down to put his bib back on and sit down. But I just can't believe they left him on. I mean, it shouldn't be up to the player to stay on the pitch. It's clear that he couldn't run. Because it was obvious that Dan Burn was having to cover him for him a lot of the time. And I just feel like, Jesus Christ, learn lessons, please. Because that eventually could have got worse, that injury, Billy, as he was, playing out the first half. If you've got a hamstring injury, you come off. You don't risk a hamstring.
Well, no, the chances are if it pinged, he was going to be out for the rest of the season. Hopefully he'll be fit for next week, but I know we'll see how he is, but yeah, when you're watching your team kind of struggling to defend, and you've got one centre half who's out of the game, you've got to make the change. You have to do it.
Yeah,
it's irrespective of how the player's saying he's fine when he's clearly not. You have to make the change.
I do agree with Jet. He says, to be fair, Cher's played through his knocks before. He has, absolutely. But they've normally been head injuries, haven't they? And he's sort of got up like, I described him as the Terminator in previous games, just getting up and getting on with it. But when you're talking about a hamstring that's sort of hampering your run and you can't get to the ball very quickly, and, Dan Burns having to cover for you, that the manager should know straight away then that he needs a different centre half on, because it's risking, especially the way the first half was going. We could have easily been 2 or 3 down in that first half, and without a fit centre back, and then that would have been even worse for me. Had we found out that Cher was injured midway through the first half and didn't take him off and ended up being 2 or 3 down at half time, which could have easily been the story. Simon says, fans' channels vary. I used to watch other Newcastle channels until I spotted this randomly. There is so much more analysis on this show than anywhere else, including from professional pundits. Thank you, Simon. Very kind. PD Proudlock says, I only give Burn a 6 on my player ratings. I've definitely had a Castor there. He was definitely unbeatable. Yeah, you have had a Castor, mate. But, appreciate you admitting it.
To be fair, if we'd have done play ratings yesterday after the match, we'd have probably done the same, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Well, speak for yourselves.
Of course, Mr. Stato wouldn't have. Yeah,
we were praising him in the podcast afterwards. To be fair,
yeah. Look, I've watched highlights of the game back. I've watched bits of the game back, and we'll come on to in the player ratings as well. Ab says Burn was okay, but a top class centre back is the number one priority in the summer. I think it's one of the priorities. Abs, definitely agree with you there. I think we do need another centre back in, and I think they will target a centre back definitely. Especially with Cher being a year older. Yeah, I think it will be one of the top priorities, but I also think a striker will be as well, because I am still convinced Wilson will leave in the summer. Mason says that you most certainly did imagine if McBurney was playing, he would have had him in his back pocket. John says, talk bollocks. Get it all day long. Talk sport is a bag of shite. Oh, that's right, John. Right, let's do this. That's something we did forget. All 3 of us have forgot about, guys. Slap on the wrist for each one of us there.
We weren't here for the last one. We forgot.
Yes. Right. So we get 3. As usual, we'll put 4 up for man of the match. 1 will be our choice, and then all 3 of us will come to the 4th choice. So, Billy, who's your choice for man of the match?
Alexander Isak.
Isak, okay. Alex?
Oh, God, I don't want to back us into a corner here so we can't pick the right ones. Bruno's an obvious one.
You going for Bruno? I thought he was terrible first half, actually. But mine's Dan Burn. Right, so now we need to come together for a 4th one, because
there's a few candidates though. Murphy obviously was okay, got an assist. Gordon got the pen, was solid throughout. Wilson came on and scored.
Lewis Hall was good all the way through.
I think Lewis Hall was good all the way through. I think he does. Should we go with Hall? I think Hall played really well. I think deserves to be on there. So there you go. That is the match of the day, Paul. I put MOTD question mark. What the hell am I doing?
Man of the day.
Still means the same thing, doesn't it?
Right. So there it is. The poll is going up now. Isak, Bruno, Burn, or Lewis Hall, and we will revisit that at the end of the show to see what you guys have chosen for the viewers' man of the match at the weekend. Right, shall we move on to player ratings, guys? Because I think it's going to be a very interesting one. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree, or actually, if you do disagree. Graham Sinclair says, go on, Paul, put my comment on the screen for the first. Well, there you go. There you go, Graham.
Hi, Graham.
Everybody, there's Graham. He is a member as well, so yeah. They are rattling through. We've got over 1,000 watching again, so they do rattle through at the speed of light. So I do apologize, but let me know. But if you do disagree, but do put in the comments why you disagree, because obviously we want to know why your opinion is like that. Nobody is wrong when it comes to player ratings. It's all about opinions, of course, even though I disagree with Alex most of the time, but that's just the way it works on this show. Anyway, let's start off with Dubravka. Now, you did come out with a comment yesterday, Alex, saying, I am done. What's your player rating for Martin Dubravka?
I'll give him a 4.
Okay.
I'm still done. Don't want to see him again. I just don't think he suits the way we play, and I would prefer to play Karius. I don't think he did particularly well yesterday. I think he's gonna lose us points between now and the end of the season, and we need as many points as we can get. So he's had a lot of chances to try and improve and do things, and I am so bored of him half coming out, but then not committing and backtracking and backpedaling. So many times Dan Burn turns around and says, pick the ball up, come and claim the ball. And he doesn't, it's like he's got brain lag. He doesn't understand what he's doing with it. And I can't fathom how a professional footballer who plays in goal cannot understand. If your club captain centre half turns around and says, come and pick the ball up, go and pick the ball up. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't want to see him again. So done.
I've gone with a 3. So exactly the same thing, Alex, really. I mean, so many times yesterday when we were commentating on the game, we're saying, Dubravka's there. And even when he's there, like you say, he doesn't pick the ball up. And he's got defenders on top of him thinking, are you going to pick the ball up or what? You can see the frustration in the faces. And then
there's people saying we're being too harsh. Look, we appreciate that a lot of this faffing around didn't actually cost us points yesterday. And it didn't officially count as it didn't go as far as being a mistake. But he keeps doing this every game, and there are certain games where it's causing mistakes and goals, and certain games where he's getting lucky and it's just not doing that. I'm not forgetting these one-ish games. I'm not forgetting these one-ish games. We've referenced that. He's won his penalty shootouts. He's been immaculate in a couple of games. We're not forgetting that, but game after game after game, the way he plays doesn't work. We can't have a goalkeeper who's rooted to his line and 2 of the slowest centre-halves in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, for trouble.
For me, you've got to look at his positioning as well, not just whether he makes a couple of saves. It's whether he comes off, how he comes off his line, how he's positioned, all sorts of stuff. So I don't think he's ever going to get dropped. I mean, I think there was a comment there come in saying that he'll never get dropped. So I agree with that. I don't think he ever will. Maka says Dubravka is 7, gets easily criticised despite being a backup keeper. He made a key save at 2-1, and then we got a penalty. So he's going with a 7. But well done for backing up you. That's what we want to see, Maka. Thank you very much for that. Billy?
I'll give him a 4. He should have really got something behind the goal. I know it's point blank, but for the ball to go through his legs for the second time in 2 games, nah. Too much hesitancy in his goalkeeping. He comes, stops, goes back. There's no trust in him from the defenders, and why would there be? He's just not reliable enough for me as a goalkeeper. 4 out of 10.
Okay. Right, let's move to right back, which was Tino Livramento, Billy.
Strangely out of sorts first half, but he wasn't on his own there, was he? But came to the game second half with his usual kind of attacking style, solid defensively second half also, although they had run out of steam a little bit. First half, not great. I'll give him a 6.
Interesting that Lewis Adams says, I thought Murphy was shocking yet again yesterday, and Longstaff is starting to look like Jack Colback. He can only pass sideways and backwards. Well, we'll come on to Murphy, obviously, when we get to him. Alex, Tino for you?
Yeah, not his best game. Obviously, we're quite used to him coming in and dropping man of the match performances and making important contributions in games.
Yeah.
Whereas that was a bit more of sort of a general game for him. I think 6 is probably fair. I don't think he did enough to get any sort of 7s or higher in my books. Even though 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, won a lot of duels, passes were really solid, 92% passing accuracy. He got 101 touches of the ball as well. So it was nice that we were trusting him out on that right-hand side. But yeah, it was steady. It was okay. Again, he was one of the ones that wasn't amazing in the first half either. I think they were all kind of guilty of that. But it was good enough for a 6. It was okay.
Yeah, I've gone with a 6 as well for exactly the same reasons. I think first half, very, very difficult for Tino because, again, he had the problem with Fabian Schär, and Dan Burn was coming across. So there was a lot of confusion there. But second half, I think he got a lot better. I was looking forward to Tino and Murphy on the right, seeing them bomb forward most of the game. But unfortunately, the first half, it didn't quite happen like that. But 6 for me, and I still think he's going to be our right back for years and years to come. Moving across to the left-hand side, Lewis Hall. I'm giving Lewis Hall an 8. I thought he was superb yesterday. Really, despite the difficulties of the first half, I think he was the only player, and I think we said it in Matchday Live, Billy, that really stood out for us. Made some brilliant tackles, by the way, goal-saving tackles in that first half, and tried to get forward as much as he could as well on the overlap, etc. So I thought Lewis Hall stood out a mile yesterday, so I'm giving him an 8. Alex?
I think an 8 is a little bit generous, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to go. I'll join you. I'll go with an 8 as well. I think in context, considering the season he's had with being left out for long periods of time, we've had press conferences where we've been told he needs to learn the defensive side of the game and all of this. He's 19 years old. He was the youngest player in our 11 yesterday, and he was fine. He had a solid game. I think an 8's good for him. Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. He was very, very tidy in possession, 94% passing accuracy, 47 out of 50 passes. That's really, really solid. He was okay physically. He didn't get left behind. I wasn't watching phases of play going, oh, he's missing that or he needs to develop that. Of course, there are areas, but it was fine. It was competent. And let's not forget he's only 19 as well. So,
yeah, absolutely.
We'll go for the 8, definitely.
Ian Fleming says, Tino got a 9 in the Chronicle. Dear me. I mean, is it Lee Ryder does the I think he does the play ratings in the Chronicle. I don't always agree with Lee Ryder's opinions, but there you go. Billy?
Yeah, 8, definitely. And if it hadn't been for West, Fotheringham would have had a goal as well with a fantastic shot that Fotheringham had to dive full length to stop.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a shot.
Yeah.
Defensively solid, got a fantastic left foot. Very much better at left back than anything else we've had there this season. Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. Right, the centre backs. We'll go with Fabian Schär first. Billy?
It's hard to mark him because he was injured, but he should have come off the pitch, really. I'll just give him a straight 5.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll give Schär and Emil Kraft. We'll do them both now because obviously Kraft played the second half, didn't he? So what about Kraft, Billy?
I'll give Kraft a 7. I thought he was solid. He definitely solidified us in the second half. However, whether that was down to Sheffield United falling off a cliff with fitness or mentally being shattered because of what had happened to them with being in control and still losing, I thought Kraft was quite solid, so 7 for him.
Yeah, I've gone with a 5 and a 7. Schär for me didn't look right, and obviously now we know why. But I think Emil Kraft came on and did a job, and that's all you can ask him to do. Obviously, he played the better half of the match. There's no doubt about that. But Sheffield United did in the first couple of minutes of that second half cause us a few, on the counter attack. But I thought overall he did okay. Alex?
Slightly different. I'm going to go for a 4 for Schär. I don't think he was switched on enough, and he was injured. I'm going to give Kraft an 8 purely because he's a right back and he played centre half in a back 4. I think he deserves a little bit of credit for that as well. I appreciate it at Sheffield United, but even so, that is not his position. 35 out of 37 passes. He missed 2 passes the whole time he was on the pitch, which is incredible. 4 out of 6 ground duels, 3 tackles, really, really solid. I think he deserves it. It's probably a 7's fair. I'm going to go for the 8 purely for the fact that, he was playing this kind of role for Steve Bruce, and it was an absolute calamity. This is a right back who's stepping into the role of a centre half in the Premier League, and he was fine. So I'll go for the 8 for that.
Okay. Right. The other centre back was Dan Burn. I'm giving Dan Burn a 9. Looking back on that game yesterday, it was clear that because of the injury to Schär, I think a lot of Dan Burn was, he made some brilliant tackles yesterday, cleared them off the line. I don't think his passing was particularly great yesterday, Dan Burns, but His main job is there to stop the ball going in the back of the net. And to say that he didn't put his body on the line yesterday to stop that ball going in numerous times, making tackles, clearing the ball. And what I liked about his clearances this time, they were really good. I mean, me and Billy have mentioned a few times when sometimes he comes to head the ball and it's just literally a header that goes up in the air and doesn't go anywhere. Yesterday, he was awesome. He cleared that ball as best he could, as many times as he could. Playing centre-back for 2 players in the first half when it was a really difficult first half. So, Dan Burn is clearly a centre-back, not a left-back, because since he's gone to centre-back, he's been awesome for me and a real leader. So, well done, Dan Burn. You get a 9 from me. Alex?
Yeah, well, I'm going to annoy a few people here because I'm going to back myself because I believed it the whole season. Every single time the torches and pitchforks have been out for Dan Burn, I've said, no, he's good enough to be in the squad as a rotation option for the games necessary. He shouldn't be the starting centre-half for a team of this calibre forever. Absolutely not. But Dan Burn is good enough against certain levels of opposition and against certain profiles of opposition, and he's fine for being a rotation option. And a lot of people slaughtered me for that, and there are other people that have had a similar opinion to me as well. And it's shown that Dan Burn against the right opposition was fine. It was when he was playing left back against the speediest wingers in the league, he was getting absolutely cooked for it. And it definitely wasn't on him. You can see he's got leadership qualities. He's got a good reading of the game. He's a good defender. You could see all of those qualities in his game. Everybody saw it. I thought his passing was fine. 94% passing accuracy, much better than he usually does. 1 out of 3 aerial duels. Again, I can never accept when Dan loses headers, because he should never lose a header really with his size. It was. I'll go with a 9 as well. Immaculate from him.
Okay, Billy.
No, I'll give him an 8. Leadership definitely got that in abundance. Captain's performance yesterday saved us on numerous occasions. One off the line, blocks here and there. Covering Fabian Shed, but there was occasions where he actually got pulled out to the right wing, to the right back position, which to me isn't disciplined enough, especially if you're trying to cover for the right side of centre back. So I'll give him an 8 because he does get carried away sometimes with having the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yeah, fair enough. NUFC 1892 says, how's your complaint going, Paul? Hope you got an apology for your awful treatment. Will you be going back to the last home game of the season? It's a shame for you to miss out. I haven't heard a Scooby-Doo from the club, mate. And I'm absolutely... Well, I'm gutted, actually, that I haven't heard back. I think it's shameful that we're a month on, 4 weeks down the line almost, and still nothing from the football club. Not even an acknowledgement to say that they're looking into it, etc., etc. I think it's absolutely disgusting. That doesn't stop my love for Newcastle United, not in a million years, but I will stand by my stance. Not just for me, but for disabled fans in general. And I think it is disgusting that nobody from the football club has reached out with an email or anything just to say, we are looking into it. There's an investigation going on, and we'll get back to you in due course. But I haven't heard nothing, and I think that is bang out of order for a football club the size of Newcastle United, especially as they're trying to do so many good things for disabilities and things like that around the ground and inside for the actual games. To have that happen and get no response from the club, I think is disgusting, and I'm very upset about it, to be honest. But that's for another day, I guess. It's wrong and it's hurtful. It's hurt me. It's hurt me a lot. The football club that I love and spend a hell of a lot of time talking about and running a channel about, working hard and pushing my own health to the limit sometimes because I'm shattered when I do certain things, and not to get any kind of answer or acknowledgement from the football club for 4 weeks, I think is drastically wrong, guys. That may be an overreaction to some, but not to me. I have my stance. I have my opinions on it, and I also have a lot of faith in a lot of people for having disabilities and being able to cope with different things in life. And then you get treated like that, and you get no acknowledgement from a Premier League football club. Nah, I think it's very, very wrong. But it is what it is. I can't exactly do anything else apart from send in another letter or send in something else. But if you're not going to get an answer, what the hell's the point anymore? Anyway, let's move on to midfield, guys. We'll start off with Bruno, Billy.
First half, you'd have probably given him a 4 to a 5 because he was totally out of the game, totally overran by And
His
again,
passing was poor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same thing that we've seen a lot though. It was 2 against 5, probably 1 actually, because Anderson weren't great first half either. Against their 5 with the wing backs pushed up to make a 5, he's not going to do anything, is he? Second half though, outstanding. So you give a 4 out of 10 first, 5 out of 10 first half, probably a 10 out of 10 second half goal. I'm going to give him somewhere in between there. Give him an 8.
Okay, I'm going for an 8 as well, because I think, like you said, Billy, it takes a big man to step up when you've had a poor first half, and then you start dictating things again. And I think that's what he loves to do. He loves to dictate that attack, being on the edge of the box, and sometimes I wish he'd just shoot. I really do. When the positions become available, just hit the ball, because we know he's got a good shot on him, and then it goes to the left or right again. But that's obviously the way Eddie set them up to play, not particularly Bruno himself. So I just think it takes a real man to come back from a poor first half and put a leadership performance in like that in the second. So and of course he scored as well. So 8 for me. Alex?
Yeah, I think Billy summed up the first half. It's a 4 or a 5. It wasn't great, but the kind of output in the second half. I mean, he scored the goal that put us in front, which is integral. It was something that was planned and practiced, and the data is just outrageous as well. 7 accurate long balls is enormous. 2 key passes, 116 touches of the ball. Slightly off passing accuracy, but again, he was a bit off in the first half, and he was trying to make a lot happen in the second as well. He tried 4 shots, 4 successful dribbles, 8 ground duels, 1 flag hold, whatever we want to include. Yeah, it was great. I'm going to go with an 8 purely because of how important it was. I think realistically it should probably be a little bit lower than that because the first half was so poor. But I think with the context of everything, for how important that goal was, instead of just marking it because it was a goal, I think it was a really important goal, important time of the game where we needed to get in front early in the second half. So yeah, I'll go with an 8 for him.
Yeah, so some good scores for Bruno. I have contacted the Supporters Trust as well. They did help at the beginning and told me that the club were aware of the situation, but nothing from them. Right, let's move to Sean Longstaff. Alex.
Really, really tricky one to mark. 2 or 3 really good runs into the box. We know Sean's got reasonably good footballing IQ in terms of that. He finds that space against everybody at least once a game. I wish he could score. If he could score from that, he'd have 10 goals a season because he finds that space in the box all the time. He's down as 5 out of 5 accurate long balls as well, which is pretty crazy. So he's done some reasonable stuff. However, it was a lot of shadow marking, shadow tackling, lethargic. There were 3 or 4 really bad passes that put us on the back foot. We had to sort of start running back for it to stop a counter attack. Is he still really injured? Really hard to mark him. I don't know. I'm just going to say 5 and put it in the middle and just say at this point, it's kind of hard to know what's Sean and what's not. Where everybody keeps having this argument about, oh, well, he's injured. He should be able to pass, or he should be able to do this, or he can't do that. I mean, we don't know. You don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to say 5. We'll have to wait and see what's wrong with Sean.
Yeah, I've gone with a 4. I didn't. He did make a couple of decent runs, which could have led to something. But the old Sean used to make them runs all the time and cause real problems with them. But I don't think we're seeing enough problems caused by those runs. Sometimes he was unlucky because he did make the runs and some of the passes were overhit that just went out for goal kicks. So he did make some positive runs, but I just think it's all around general play. I have a feeling he's still injured, guys. I really do. I mean, since he's come out with that
lethargic.
Yeah, he's come out with that interview, and now you have to look and say, but yet he still plays 90 minutes. Eddie won't bring him off. It's bizarre.
I think Sean is meant to be the same as Dan Burn. They're meant to be squad players who are used at certain times of the season. That was the whole plan. The plan was Tonali to start and Longstaff to sort of help with squad rotation because it was going to be a really long season. It is what it is. I don't think anybody can factually say they know exactly what's going on with Sean. It's kind of hard to see whether is it him having a bad day? Is it him not being as good as a footballer? Is it the injury? Well, I think we've seen him improve. There was a huge chunk of 8 to 10 weeks earlier on the season where he was magnificent. He really had stepped up. And that doesn't just disappear. And I don't think it was just a purple patch. I personally don't, but again, that's just an opinion, so I've got nothing to back that up. We'll see what he's like next season because we need him. If people want to sell him or not, you've got to remember, by the way, everyone, he is homegrown, trained at club, which is really important when you're submitting teams for European competitions. It means we'll have to just submit a lesser squad with not as many people in it, which after this season, do you want to be playing with smaller squads? I don't. So...
Paul Hodges, at NUFC, I'd imagine, have a lot of correspondence to attend to. Plus, it's not good to describe something you love as disgusting, in my opinion. So you think that being questioned on my disability in front of hundreds of people and made to feel like a criminal and then send an email to a club the size of Newcastle United and not get anything back for somebody breaking many, many different disability laws is not disgusting? That incident is disgusting, but that doesn't stop me loving Newcastle United, but the incident is disgusting. So, Paul, have a word with yourself, mate. That's a really terrible thing to say, actually. Despite your loving Newcastle United, that incident for me and a lot of people is disgusting, and the fact that they haven't replied is even worse. So, really strange comment, that. Billy, Sean Longstaff?
Yeah, a bit of a Poundland version of Bruno. Crap in the first half, but much worse than Bruno was, and better in the second. Now, whether that's down to the fact that Sheffield fell off a cliff second half, I mean, I think it is probably. But he was much more apparent in the second half. Yeah, I'll give him a 5.
Tom says there, Sean needs the end of the season, get him a proper rest and healed, and he'll come back. He's not first choice, but we know what he can do and the energy, which is exactly what Stat was on about and being a squad player. And, we're homegrown. We need these kind of players within the squad. Absolutely. Right. Elliot Anderson, Billy.
Not his greatest day, I don't think, but not as bad as Sean Longstaff was, that's for certain. And he was, in the thick of things in the second half, he could have got his goal, the back-to-back heeled own goal. He was, involved in that. I'll give him a 7. I've probably been a bit generous there, but I'll give him a 7.
Interesting. Alex?
I'm going to go with a 6, but I feel like that some people will view that as a negative number. It's positive in my eyes, but I don't think he did enough physically in that game. I think he struggled a little bit with the physicality of it. 2 out of 6 ground duels. I think that was partly due to Sheffield United being very up for it in that first half. Anderson did go off in the 66th minute anyway, so he didn't get the benefit of playing as they fell off a cliff fitness-wise. So he had to do all the hard part and then got subbed off when it was a little bit easier for everyone. He was important in getting their own goal to go in because he leapt up really well, got good contact on it, but was tidy, 89% passing accuracy. I think he's just struggling because he's now having to do what Joe Linton and Willock have done for us. He's now having to do that kind of running up and down the pitch and being super physical. He's still only 21. He's fine. I think sometimes he needs to learn to go down and just take the foul. And again, I've had this. I can't remember. Maybe me and Billy discussed this on a podcast. I can't remember. I think it was on a Patreon.
No, Will Hughes the night, wasn't it?
It was against Will Hughes. Yeah. So I hate that. I really don't want to advise this because I love that Elliot Anderson will ride any challenge and he will try his hardest to stay on his feet and he's a tank. But sometimes in the Premier League, the way the modern game is just go to ground and take the free kick. It's just the way it works. But I do love his attitude. He's a top-notch professional and I can't wait for him to get more minutes and improve.
Yeah. Listen, I feel a bit sorry for Elliot Anderson because let's not forget the last 2 games he's played as a bloody wing back, and now he's put right back in the middle of the midfield where is the engine room. So I don't think it was his best game yesterday by a long shot. I'm giving him a 6, but I do feel for him, and I do, well, not feel for him. I actually have a lot of respect for him because he's been asked to play in various different positions in the last few games, and he's stood up and said, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." And although he wasn't outstanding yesterday, he didn't particularly do anything wrong. But I think it was a very difficult situation for him, playing left wing back for 2 games and then coming back into the middle. That can't be very easy. Peter Garthwaite, thank you for your super chat. Great show as usual, guys. Thank you very much for that, Peter. Right, let's move to the front 3 now. We'll start off with Jacob Murphy, Alex.
Jacob, it was a funny one for Jacob. A few people said he had a really bad game, and I can see what a few people witnessed. A few strange crosses and a few strange decisions. It was a bit odd from him. However, he worked really, really hard. He got his assist, which was fantastic. It was a great ball, great vision. He got 4 key passes in that game. And he is an integral player for us. He, again, fits into that category of Sean and Dan Burn, that he's really, really useful for this squad. And he has qualities as well. He can score 30-yard goals. Yep. He's a bit cheeky. He'll work and he'll play wherever you need him to play. I think I'll go one more. I'll go for a 7 because he got the assist. And it was at a vital time in the game. We were 1-0 down. We needed a quick response. 26th minute. Jacob plays in that ball. Fine, Isak has to do the work to score it. But if Jacob doesn't play that cross, or that sort of swung ball round, we don't get level. So, yeah, he gets a 7 from me.
I've gone with a 6. I thought apart from the pass, I don't think he did little else. I mean, the pass was absolute quality. And Jacob Murphy is obviously, we spoke about that earlier on in the show. That's what he's capable of when he's playing in that position. And he did do a couple of good things. He tried to get the ball in the box. I don't think he crossed it as much as he should have or could have. But again, I don't know whether that's down to Jacob Murphy himself or the tactics that Eddie set up to, not play the ball into the box. And Billy, I think you mentioned it yesterday with 2 very tall centre-backs. You're only really aiming for Isak. And it's very, very difficult for Jacob. But I'll give him a 6. Paul Hodges, just go.
I've banned him. Don't worry.
I know you.
If anybody else wants to pop any more comments in about Parkinson's and disability, please put it in the chat so we can just ban you, because we do want to talk.
I haven't said this for a while actually, but Mr. Hodges, go and take your face for a huge shite.
He's already banned, so he can't say it.
Yeah, he's a complete knob. He's been on before making derogatory comments as well. Bollocks to you. Anyway, let's move to the other side. Anthony Gordon.
I've not done Murphy yet.
Oh, sorry, Billy. I missed Billy out. I do apologise. Go on then.
I also give him a 7.
Okay.
That pass, he's got it in his. It's a specialist part of his game now. He's done it 3 or 4 times. It's a fantastic weighted pass into the channels, and for Isak to read it was fantastic. So for that assist alone, didn't do much else. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Okay. I think he's been very generous on that, but it's all about opinions, of course. Right, let's move to the main man. The 2 main men, really. The left-hand side was Anthony Gordon, Billy.
Yeah, really heavily involved in 3 of the goals, wasn't he? Work rate, as always, exemplary. Didn't get his goal. Possibly could have set Isak up for a hat-trick. He delayed the pass or took a heavy touch before he could have squared it across to him. Yeah. But heavy influence in 3 goals. I'm going to give him an 8.
I'm going to give him an 8 as well. I thought he looked more comfortable, didn't he, back on the left? And we said that before the game in the build-up to it, that we'd probably see a little bit more of a little bit more from Gordon than what we did on maybe obviously Wednesday night as well. But that was long forgotten about. But I thought I'd give him an 8 as well. I thought he was really looking back to his normal self. Alex?
Yeah, definitely deserves more than what I gave Murphy. So an 8 for Gordon. 3 key passes in that game. Took set pieces. Got an assist from a set piece. Won a penalty on top of that. That's a lot of penalties he's won this year, by the way.
It is, yeah.
People look at goals and assists and start judging versus other wingers in the Premier League. Gordon's won us, 5 or 6 pens this year? So that has to be taken into account as well. An 8. It was really solid from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy?
Who are we doing?
Gordon. He's done Gordon.
He's done Gordon. Right, we'll move on to Isak. So, Billy, Alexander Isak.
10 out of 10 for me. Yeah, outstanding performance. Fantastic penalty. Just totally flummoxed the keeper. But that little bit of movement to set himself up for the goal was just elite, world-class level. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. 10 for me as well. I thought he was. I just think the guy sees goal, and there was one incident I think in the second half where he could have squared it. I think I can't remember who was. It was Elliot Anderson, wasn't it? Who was standing completely free, but Isak wanted that hat trick badly, and he's never going to pass in that situation. And the move didn't end up with anything. But I just love his desire for goals now. He's hungry to score every time he's on the pitch. And one thing about Isak now is he looks fit. He just looks 100% fit that he can take on the world at the minute. And we are going to see certainly next season, I think, the next level of Isak. I thought he was outstanding. Alex?
Yeah, it's a good point. Because he will get injured again in the future. Everybody does. He's not going to be injury free for the rest of his career. So we just need to remember this, that we definitely know now that he takes 4, 5, 6 weeks to really ramp up into full fitness and start being elite. So we need to remember this for next time, because when he comes back and he's rusty, we can't just say, we do need to take that into account next time. But yeah, 10, easiest 10 ever. 2 goals, could have been more. He had 5 shots, completed all of his dribbles. He was linking up play better. 2 key passes in that game. He looks good for creation as well at the moment. Just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It wasn't just the finishing, it was the movement, the intelligence, the understanding, the reading of the game. This is a 24-year-old striker, guys. Like the footballing IQ of this guy and the movement and the intelligence. It's not just raw stuff. People who are 24 years old, a lot of the time it's just power, aggression, finishing, intensity, desire. Whereas this guy's got like the cool clinical parts that you normally get in the later stages of a game. He's 24. So yeah, easy 10.
Yeah. Right. Robert says, my wife passed away from a neurological condition that is sometimes mistaken for Parkinson's. Her life was sheer hell for the last few years. I can imagine, matey. My life is not easy. But I have a fantastic family, a fantastic fiance who deserves, I've said many, many times, a medal the size of a frying pan, if not bigger, for looking after me, saving my actual life on a couple of occasions. The woman is just unbelievable, and she's just absolutely incredible. And I can't speak highly enough to Susan, but I've got some very good friends around as well. These guys on screen now, the mods, the real Toon Review family, Sam as well, behind the scenes. And I've got some amazing friends, and you guys out there as well, the real proper people, the real nice people, the real understanding people, the subscribers, the viewers, the members, all of yous. The support is incredible. And, I've had a lot of support through that incident with Newcastle, but I continue to get support for this awful illness that I have to put up with. But this is something that I love doing, and it tires me out a lot of the time, yes, but I love doing it. I love interacting with you guys out there. I have a really special bond with these guys on the screen with me and Sam, etc., and that's very important to me. It's just the way it is. It's the cards that have been dealt. Ian Toon Trader, thank you for your super chat. We all back you, Paul. Forget the idiots. Thank you, mate. Right, who came on a sub? Because I know there was 2 subs in the last. So
obviously we've done Kraft, so that's fine. 66th minute, we had Barnes and Wilson on for Murphy and Anderson.
Right, so we'll start with Harvey Barnes, Alex.
I'm going to shock a few people here. Billy knows what I'm going to say. I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7. He got an assist, a couple of key passes. He wanted it. He was creative. He was tidy. Everything we need him to do. However, I'm going to be really harsh and just say he gets a 7 for me for this game. But again, it's what we mentioned the other day. It's nice and easy when you come on, when you're already winning at home, and there's loads of space when the opposition have down tools. He was absolute dog against Crystal Palace. He was useless against Palace. So I want to see Harvey do this away from home or against tougher opposition when it counts. He did it against West Ham. Fair enough. But maybe we're spoiled because we get to see Gordon just be an absolute tank against everyone. Maybe Gordon's kind of set a bit of an unrealistic bar there. However, yeah, 7, solid, but I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that side of Barnes in games where it matters. I want to see him match up people physically as well.
Billy?
Yeah, I think 7's fair. The assist was fantastic. It was a lovely little pass, lovely little chip pass into Wilson.
I mean, Simon makes a point there, Billy. You know, Barnes has 4 goals and 3 assists for a player we've barely seen all season.
Yeah, but you got to remember the West Ham ones was when it was needed.
Yeah, the rest of it was all stat padded, really, wasn't it?
Villa,
Villa was stat padded. This one is
up.
stat padded.
Yeah. So yeah, 7. We haven't seen the best of him. I am concerned that when the going gets tough, he doesn't seem to appear, but we shall see. Hopefully, he can improve next season.
Yeah, I think let's judge him next season as well.
I do have to answer something as well. I'm not judging him on.
I knew you were going to. I knew you were going to
giving him a 7 for that game. I'm just adding on an extra side note. It's like a PS. We also need to make sure of this. But for that performance, he gets a 7. So yeah, I gave him the same as I gave Murphy. They both contributed to goals, didn't they?
Yeah. Chris says you guys are forgetting the goal he should have took.
Huh?
Who?
Harvey Barnes. I think he did have a chance, didn't he? I think he put a shot wide. If I can, I'm sure he did. But it was
big chance created 1. He didn't have any shots officially.
I
can't remember one.
Anyway, he gets a 7 from me for exactly the same reasons you guys.
Unless it means Wilson. Unless it means Wilson.
Possibly Wilson.
But Wilson, yeah.
Well, yeah, but Wilson smashed the back of the net. I'm giving Wilson a 9. I thought he was excellent when he came on. He really looked sharp. He held the ball up well, which we know he's got the qualities. There is no doubt in Callum Wilson's qualities. All we doubt is his fitness, which is unfortunate for him. But when he's on the pitch and he's fit, he is a handful for any defender. And he started roughing up the centre-backs as soon as he came on the bloody pitch. So I thought he was excellent. I'm really pleased that he got his goal as well because it was a fabulous finish. So a 9 from me. Alex?
I don't know. I think 9's a bit generous, but I guess he could have got 2 goals, really. It was a fantastic save from Fotheringham off that half volley. 2 shots on target. One was top bins. The other one, very unfortunate not to go in either. It was a great stop from the goalkeeper. I'll go with a 9 based on context. He's just returned from injury, played 10 minutes the other day. He's come on and he's made a really, really, really good impact. Same as Barnes did, but I think Wilson looks, should have had 2 really. So, and we need him because Isak, we do need to protect him. This means we can bring Isak off potentially. Obviously, the problem is there's not really an easy run in now. We're not going to get to a situation sort of 2 games before the end of the season where we can go, cool, we can rest people now. It's going to probably come down to the last day, 6th and 7th, and we need as high as we can get. So, yeah, I'll give him a 9. And the silver lining for this is if he stays, great. He's fit and he's in form. If he leaves, well, he's in the shop window and he looks good. So I guess it's win-win, right?
Jordy's comment there, why I'd keep him. I mean, I personally think that Wilson wants to go. I think he was very disappointed he didn't get to leave in January. I think he wants to move on. That's just my personal opinion. It may be completely wrong. We'll see in the summer. Billy?
Well, he looked very sharp, didn't he? Now, whether that's down to the fact that Sheffield United were down on the feet, out on the feet, and finished and knackered, and all the things you want to say, I'm not so sure. I guess that will be proven when he next plays. But in the context of yesterday's game, a fantastic finish for the goal. Great touch with his left, banged in with the right, really good goal. I think 9's a fair score. But I mean, let's not just get too ahead of ourselves just yet because he was playing against players that were out of it basically.
Well, yeah, but that second shot, you ain't saving that.
Oh, it's a brilliant goal. Yeah, outstanding. That's kind of
Edison and Allison ain't saving that.
No, definitely not.
No. Right. We've done the substitutes. Really,
Alex Murphy and Matt Ritchie came on, but it was 8 minutes from time. But they did play 7 extra minutes, which was quite,
Well, we'll give them both a 6. Why not? Just get them on the.
It's worth a shout that. It's nice that Alex Murphy didn't have that penalty given against him. I think it's just worth mentioning that because that might have done his confidence a bit of damage. So I'm happy that didn't go against him.
Yeah. Look, it was nice to see him on the pitch. Actually, we've wanted to see him for quite some time now, and now we actually do see him. So, right. Let's take a look at Eddie Howe now, guys. Alex.
I liked the changes. He reverted back to the system. They've been working on developing Lewis Hall, and he looks good for it. We weren't great first half, but again, was he the reason we weren't great the first half? Possibly, maybe the players, but he sorted him out second half. So, I mean, we won 5-1, guys. I've got to give him a high score. I'll give him an 8, but yeah, it does sound like he definitely gave him a bit of a C&2 at half time, because all the people did say in the interviews, it was Isak and a few others just said that there were words at half time. So
that's more like it.
You what, Billy?
That's more like it.
Yeah. I do actually think I'm going with a 6, because I think what worries me is what is said in that dressing room, and we've spoken about this before, guys, is what's said in that dressing room before they go out for the first half. Because I'm really, really. By the way, just before I say that, Martin's asking where Sam is tonight. Sam's actually got some. I think it's our partner's mother who is really ill in hospital. So that's where Sam is, and we wish the family all the best and all our love as well, and she knows that. So that's where Sam is tonight. Samsonite Dove, thank you for your super chat. With slot confirmed for Liverpool, you think Feyenoord is still attractive to lend Minter to, or better to get the Howe treatment?
That's a good question.
Very good question.
We will be talking about that in due course shows. I'm giving him a 6, as I say, Eddie Howe, because I think it needs addressing this first half, guys, because we've seen it a few times now. And I just want to know what is said. I think, Alex, you might have mentioned this after the game last night. We need to start putting things right.
Yeah, we need to turn up a bit quicker.
Instead of relying on changing things, at half time or into the second half. We need.
Well, they could have scored 2 or 3 goals, right? So if we, in these final few games of the season, if we do this again, a team might punish us, and the game's gone by that second half anyway. So we need to turn up from minute 1.
It's Sam's grandfather, a partner's grandfather, by the way. Anyway, 6 from me, Billy.
Yeah, I'll do the dancing between the two of you. You've gone 6. Stato's gone 8. I'll go 7. He didn't correct what happened in the first half. I'm concerned he didn't get share off before he did. Didn't wait. Shouldn't have waited till half time.
Yeah.
Could have cost us more goals. But at the end of the day, he's made his changes right. I thought the team selection at first was what I wanted to see, although it didn't work first half. But we've won 5-1 again, so 7 for me.
Can I mention one thing, by the way, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite an interesting point here is, we're still not finished the season, so it makes it even more impressive. A lot of people not liking Miggy this year. Maybe Murphy's not quite at the right level. A lot of people have said Wilson's too injury prone. Isak gets injured. So many different things were thrown out there. Obviously about Barnes as well. I joined in on that. We've scored 74 goals this year, guys, and there's still 4 games to go. That's a lot of goals. That's a hell of a lot of goals.
It is.
So, we're on a plus 19 goal difference with 74 goals scored.
Which could be very important at the end of the season.
Well, to put it into perspective, if I can count, we've scored 18? We've scored 22 more goals than Manchester United. That's a heap load. We've scored way more than Spurs have. We're only 3 behind Liverpool.
I'm going to say, if Nick Pope hadn't got injured, we'd be in the top 4 now.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Absolutely. Nigel's asking if 7th place gets Europa Conference. I think
it will do.
I think
a lot of things depend on the FA Cup, though, on who wins that and where Man United finish.
Yeah. Let's just go for 6th and definitely get it. Let's not rely on other people.
I think we're probably going to get conference at least, unless Chelsea and West Ham do an absolute mad one. We should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go, guys. That is the match review, all done and dusted. Over 1,000 watching tonight on a Sunday evening. Thank you so much. I really do mean that. We really, really appreciate everybody that comes in and takes part, apart from the dickheads. But thank you very much for your super chats, new memberships, etc. Mods, absolute stars tonight. Thank you very much. And of course, thank you to. I'm coming to that. And thank you to Billy and Alex. Let's finish off with the poll for man of the match. Who are you guys thinking that the view has gone for?
Isak.
It is Isak indeed. Isak's won it on 49%. Second was Dan Byrne on 25%. And Bruno and Lewis Hall both sharing the spoils on 13%. So there you go. Very good poll. Over 600 votes on that. But there would have been more had I remembered to put it up. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye on all the socials, guys, as for the shows, etc. Next week. Andy C, thank you for your super chat. Even lads, great show tonight. Thanks again for your efforts. Thank you, mate. Yeah, we'll put all the shows on the socials, or don't just hit the notification bell on YouTube, and they should let you know when we schedule them in or we upload any videos. There'll be plenty news videos, etc. during the week. We will see you later. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday evening. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, we will see you very soon. Good night.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check out some green.